Okay, great, great. It's wonderful to be here. My name is Michael Williams. I'm here with Mr. Ali from Kuwait, actually. Thank you, Ali, for being willing to do this interview with me.
Thank you, Michael, for giving me this opportunity.
Yeah,
And it has
yeah,
been lovely working with you. I would like to tell everyone myself, my name is Ali Kheda, and I stay in Kuwait. I'm a project manager working in oil and gas uh, sector of refinery in Kuwait.
yeah. Wonderful. And we've been working together for a few months now. Um, and so the first thing that we want to do, Ali, is talk about why you decided to do coaching with me. Now, you live on the other side of the world. Why? How did you find me, and why did you decide to do coaching with me?
I've been searching at times. It has been lots in my work that I have been seeing that speech makes a lot of difference.
Mm,
So I have been seeing great people who speak well, very well. They have a different way of speaking. And one fine day, I was going through one of the websites called UDMI, and I saw you over there. I'd seen some good ratings over there for your coaching. So what I did was, though it's said, what triggered me was it was written smooth and clear speaking or speech. So I thought, I always used to find my speech a bit choppy. I have never found myself as a stutterer, but what I look forward in your way of techniques and strategies, which were mentioned over there, it said to me that I can enhance my speech from here with these techniques. And the way you spoke in those presentations, and you spoke about modeling. I can say from there it triggered to me that yes, I think you will be the one who can phrase the bars for me. You can
mm,
set my standards of speech. And that's where I get in touch with you. In fact, I tried to make a test, and that was during one of the boot camps which I saw of yours. I thought let's try with one boot camp, and then let's see that how will it be good enough to join one-to-one coaching.
mm.
And trust me, everyone who is hearing here, and Mr. Michael, I'll tell you also that you shared the techniques how to start your conversation with an ease. And those three words, so, well, and like. Though like is the last one option when I use.
Hmm.
But these two words, when I used in the very next day in my meeting, surprisingly, it gave me such a ease to start my conversation with all the department heads who were sitting over there in the technical discussion, where technical is something we discuss totally in technical details. But I realized adding these two values to my conversation, it became so smooth and easy for me to start the
Mm.
conversation.
Good, good.
So
Yeah. So from one or
that's,
two techniques, you were able to go and immediately apply those in a high level meeting the next
yes.
day and immediately smooth out your speech.
And that's when I decided, no, I want to live with it. I want to take
Mm.
this coaching, and I believe I have no regrets. It has been week by week, it has been going great.
Yeah. Now, you also told me that there would be times when you wouldn't speak up as much, even in family situations. You would have family events and stuff, and you wouldn't speak up as much. At work, of course, you wouldn't speak up as much. Tell us about those because there are other people out there in the same situation, right? They're around their family, they don't speak out as much, or they struggle, or at work, they don't. So tell me about that a little bit.
The thing is, there was a lot of pressure getting built up day by day, I can say. I was used to find, because of the busy schedule and time and everything, I used to always feel that I used to lack in energy. Earlier, I used to feel that. But later, I found that there was something else which was missing, which didn't give me that room, that place where I can speak up in front of, in the family, in social gatherings,
Social.
and my, especially in the social gatherings and in my office works. That was building some pressure on me, and I started realizing that as terms of thoughts, I don't lack in terms of thoughts or where I can share, but there is something which is stopping me to share. Maybe it's a confidence in myself, on my words. And first I used to think about, there is something I have to do on my vocabulary, and but it was not that. And then when I found myself in the situation of coaching, I felt these were the techniques. Like, my speech was choppy. Believe me, when you're not speaking in a rhythm, you get stuck somewhere. Your thoughts has to be completed. And when you're not able to complete them, you're the thing that you speak is doesn't make that impact. And when you're especially in a social gathering of 10 people around, they will suddenly jump up in between, and your thoughts get lost somewhere. Your speech is not clear, so you
Yeah.
have to start and you have to end. And between that, you do, at least at times when you're very clear, you don't have to allow someone to jump in. So when you're
Exactly.
going to give that inflections in between, this will keep people in surprise, and they will stay behind and they will like to hear you. And that's what have changed for me.
Good.
That's what I
Good.
have
Good.
learned from you, and that's what I've changed. Thanks for me.
Yeah. You can go ahead and turn that. Oh, okay.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. Good. Good. So very good. Very good. So then let's talk about modeling, right? If someone's watching this, maybe they've heard me talk about modeling. Modeling is the foundation of this program, and it's very, very important. And you have uh, developed a way to really immerse yourself in the modeling process. So, what is modeling to you? How have you been able to use it in your daily speech, and then how have you been able to use it in your professional life, right? And then finally, we'll talk about the impact it's had. So what is it? How have you implemented it in your daily speech? Because a lot of people struggle with, well, I can't use it in my everyday speech. So how do you remember to do that? And then how do you use it in your professional life at work? And then what are the benefits of it? How do people treat you and look at you now?
friends, everyone here, I would like to tell, and Mr. Michael, that I was lucky that I opt something different over here. I knew my problem is during, I want to implement it more on the work side and at my social life. So I made sure when I start my day, before reaching office, I go through my daily routine. And I tried at times to speak back to back when you are giving us tips in the daily routine. I tried to mimic you in that
Mhm.
somehow. What I did was, while going to my office, I was sitting in my car and I used to on my mobile, connect it on the Bluetooth, and I used to take the mobile and keep it in front of my speedometer, just behind my steering. Everyone knows we very often keep looking at there. So I used to finish that all 20, 30 minutes when I reach to my office. And believe me, at times, it has been that I have reached to my office, but I'm inside my parking only, completing my daily routine and then moving to my office doors.
Mhm. Mhm.
So whatever I learned over there, I immediately tried to implement there and then.
Mhm.
My second challenge was my social life. at home also. So when I left from office, I made sure that I complete the session, the second routine, and then I reach home. So
Hmm.
I try to implement that. We may face some problem in initial days where we feel that we are talking in a different manner, which I
Hmm.
also felt, even the people around. But it was just a matter of a week, I believe, because till then I had made sure that daily I am doing this. And by doing all this daily, and when you watch those techniques and strategies, and when you start modeling for that 30 minutes in a day, you start analyzing that what Mr. Michael is doing is using those strategies and techniques, and you start getting that confidence in you. And
Hmm.
when you start doing modeling, you start loving yourself that what you're doing is just it's going to leave an impact on others.
Hmm. Hmm. So, what do you say to people who say that they keep forgetting, they can't remember to remind themselves to model every day in their everyday speech? How how did you keep it at the forefront of your mind?
Keep watching Mr. Michael very closely if you're
Mm-hmm.
modeling him. Why? Because in the start, you can see his way of hand movements. In fact, the moment I joined this coaching, in the very second week, Mr. Michael found that I'm using a lot of my hand movements
Mm-hmm.
here and there, this and that. So this was triggering. This was not just the movements. These were triggering me, reminding me that I have to go into the modeling format of speaking.
Mm-hmm.
Secondly, his hand gestures, his eyebrows, his uh, neck movements, all these small little things will be easy to implement at the starting in the first 1 or 2 weeks because they are
Mm-hmm.
physical activities.
Mm-hmm.
Then after that, I started using the way, the rhythm, and the extending of the words and blending of the words in modeling. I used to closely watch you and see that how you do that. In
Mm-hmm.
fact, I borrow your words from there and I implemented those words which were very common to my speech, to my daily speech, and I
Mm-hmm.
made sure I use those words at least once a day in anywhere somewhere in my speech. So it used to switch me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I didn't kept all my 30 hours booked all along for the initially I used to do all 30 minutes, but when I realized that that's not enough, every now and then when I used to get time other than those 30 minutes, I used to say to myself, the first practice clip, this is Ali Khera and welcome back to 7 steps to quickly achieve. And these small little lines, maybe a 3 second or 2 second, used to remind me and tell me, Ali, back to work. And that's
Mm-hmm.
what makes your life really easy. Trust me, when you start speaking with rhythm, you will love yourself and you will get that time. In your coaching, we have learned that when you relax and give little time to your brain while speaking in the rhythm, your thoughts become clear. And that's very true.
Right, right. So to recap, you spent a lot of time studying your model, watching your model, studying your model, practicing speaking like your model. Immediately, you watch, you listen to something, then you immediately go practice it. So I call this immersion. So you completely immersed yourself all throughout the day in this process. And then you had triggers. So there are physical triggers, things that you can do in terms of hand gestures, facial expressions, head movements, head gestures, rhythm, right? Speaking cadence or rhythm, and then words. Yes.
Also, blink of eyes. I used to blink my eyes and visualize your face, and then I used to open my eyes. It was very quick, but this used to remind me that what I have to do. So
Okay. Good, good. So, and there were some other things I remember you telling me you used to use to picture me. You would sometimes say my name or something. So there are various things that you would do that would trigger the modeling style, right?
Very
And
true.
then, and once you triggered it, then you were able to maintain it throughout your speech. And I guess, what would you do if you were speaking and all of a sudden you lost it, you dropped out of the modeling style? Then how did you get it back?
The firstly initial days, it was these hand gestures, this and that, this
Okay.
and that. Then the eyebrow, and very quickly, what I used to do is I used to blink. I used to remind your face to myself, and I used to tell myself. Then, believe me, when I used to blink and open my eyes, it used to never interrupt my speech ever because it was very quick. It's just something physical. You can do it. One can do it.
Yeah. Yeah. So this would trigger it, would bring it back, right?
Yes.
Now you don't have to necessarily do these things as often because you started out doing it, because you immersed yourself in it and you did it as often as you could. Now it's becoming more automatic, right?
Yes, it is very true. It just comes into my speech, and I don't have to think that I have to do modeling. In fact, I just tell myself that I have to use the strategies which is there, which I have learned from you because I am already modeling you. I'll say one more thing over here. People think that you are going to model someone and you are going to lose your identity. Modeling doesn't, from modeling you don't lose your identity, believe me friends, and anyone. uh, it just triggers your internal capabilities, and when you reach after a certain stage, that stage after that, it is you who himself within you has become a model, and you are just using your techniques, and you also never realize you have your own identity. Everyone has their identity within themselves. It's
Exactly.
just that these modeling techniques, this modeling, especially modeling Mr. Michael, will help you to trigger them and
Yeah,
bring you up.
exactly. Now let's talk about some of the benefits, some of the actual benefits that you've experienced as a result of the the, the coaching, the modeling. And then once we're done, then I want to circle back to uh, some of the specific benefits of the coaching, because all the techniques are in the self study. What, why did coaching make it better? So we'll circle back to that last, right? But for right now, let's talk about some of the successes that you've had as a result of this process. I think you just had a recent success today or yesterday, and a few weeks ago, you had a success. And we won't go too deep into that because that's a whole presentation that we're going to analyze in another video. But just how did the modeling help you, and how did people treat you? How do people treat you now?
Firstly, I'll talk about the social life regarding the way it was taught to us how to say our name with ease with modeling techniques. And immediately I had finished the session and I gave a call. I used to always practice modeling and all the things learned immediately. That is a key.
Mm,
So immediately I challenged myself. I call uh, a restaurant, and I applied all the techniques over there. And believe me, friends, it is the same restaurant where I used to always go very often and come. But this time, my name was imprint. It was immersed in his memory. When I went over there, he called me by name, and he gave an order to me with a lot of respect. I believe it added a lot of impact on my speech. That was one success. Another one, I believe, I had spoken to one person over the phone. I normally used to never carry out my conversations more than a minute, but I was speaking to him. I spoke to him around 10 minutes. He was a photographer, and I believe I kept calm in a rhythm. I kept speaking to him,
mm,
and we discussed a lot of technical things. And this was where I was I use the technique of relaxation, and by this, a lot of other thoughts and ideas while speaking came to my mind.
Mm.
On the higher level, if I say, after a few weeks of coaching, Mr. Michael, I came across a presentation in the company, and the presentation was at the most topmost level of the company, like the CEO, directors of various streams, as I'm in oil and gas, and with the procurement managers, finance managers. I implemented my presentation skills, which with modeling techniques, which I learned in Pro 90D, and it went awesome. There were a lot of thumbs up which I received. In fact, I can say a lot of visibility, appreciation, impact in my speech is what modeling has helped me to do. It has given me a clear vision during my speech. It gives more clarity and smoothness in my speech to talk. And I can speak for longer duration with the airflow technique.
Hmm.
And it has given me more accountability in front of my senior management. Recently, after that presentation, from nowhere, my director has told me to handle a case study, a case basically, which is ongoing in the company for various millions of KDs, millions and millions of dollars, I can say. And I have never been into that kind of a subject, but with the clarity of speech, with understanding of the subject very well, of presenting, they've asked me to give this opportunity. And day before yesterday, it was my second hearing in the court, representing my company. And believe me, they asked me to uh, generalize and categorize and tell me on the points which we are supposed to discuss. And they told the lawyers that you wait, let him tell me everything, and then we proceeded with the case further. So that was, I never expected that, and that was
And
amazing.
and this kind of stuff never happened to you before, right? Because I think you said you hadn't done a presentation in a few years. So this is
Yeah.
this is not stuff that has been happening to you the whole time. It's like just starting to happen now, right?
Yes, I have never presented in last 4 years. I have never gave any presentations, and the reason was uh, choppy speech. I didn't had the belief in me. The speech was not rhythmic, and while speaking, when the speech is choppy, you get your vision gets uncleared. You get lost, and
Exactly.
these all cloudy stuff has been removed now from my
Right.
speech.
Right. Right. Your thinking gets cloudy, lose track of what you're saying, and then start speaking choppy and so forth. And so when you start speaking smoother, it actually helps your thinking to become clearer. And then it's kind of a reciprocal process. Your thinking gets clearer, your speech gets smoother, so forth. Yeah, excellent. So then let's wrap up with this. How has the coaching benefited you? So someone's saying, well, I'll just do this on my own. And yes, you can. Generally, I find it takes a lot longer, sometimes 10 times as long. And I'm not exaggerating. There's been people on my list who's been there for years taking a course, and they find that because of lack of accountability or distraction, discouragement, they're in and out of the course. So it takes them years to get to the same place that it would take you a few months, right? It takes them years, it takes you months with coaching. How has coaching personally benefited you? Why would you advise someone to do private coaching with me?
I'll say I'll say that private coaching, this coaching is the key. This is the only thing you have to do. Why? Because it gives you an accountability. Mr. Michael, you have been analyzing my variation in the speech You have been evaluating my all lessons which I had learned from day-to-day activities. In your daily activities, weekly, when we used to have every appointment, these appointments were not just an appointment where we used to discuss that what has I gone through, but there were very key benefits. What I got from here was the clarity of my speech, the rhythm, how to get that. These things are taught in your sessions, but when we discuss on personal one-to-one basis, you have shown me how to inflect, where to inflect, how to inflect to get my proper voice, which I can use for inflection. These things are uh, you you cannot get just by, if you are really serious and you want to make a sudden change. This you cannot do by yourself. You need someone to evaluate you, and that's how this has helped me.
Mm, mm,
I was related to just a small thing.
mm,
When I tried to become a child where I wanted to learn to walk, and this is what one has to do, because the child will keep falling, getting up. There will be someone who will be holding his hand and telling him where to keep the other step, which will make him walk further,
mhm,
faster. And this is what private coaching will help you to do, reach
mm,
you faster to the place than where you will be reaching by taking turns and turns.
exactly. Now you speak multiple languages, right? Which languages do you speak?
I speak Arabic, I speak Hindi, I speak Gujarati, and I
Gujarati,
speak English.
English. Yeah, yeah. Okay, four languages. And apparently you've been able to, in some way, implement this one way or another, definitely in English, but you've also been able to integrate it into your other languages, right? And you're still working on that, I think.
Yes, I'm working on them,
Mm,
and I can say that the techniques and strategies basically is what we have learned in modeling is the key where it has helped me to do that,
mhm,
and it's helping me to enhance my speech in the other languages also.
right. Because many of my clients um, are Indian, because you're originally from India, right? But you've been
Yes,
living there for a very long time, right?
true.
And so many of my clients are multilingual. And so they wonder, well, will this transfer into my language? And the answer is yes. You might have to work a little harder on it, but it absolutely transfers into whatever language you speak.
Very true. Very
Yeah.
true. In fact, it will give you a different edge. It will give you really an enhanced edge if you will do modeling in your own language, because most of the Indian languages are fast spoken languages. People speak very fast. Have you
Mm.
ever noticed, most of us, we notice that we like to hear someone in our language who is speaking a little slow, steady, and a little more impact he's having in his speech.
Yeah.
And if we do that through modeling, then we will be one of them.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, listen, Ali, thank you so much for really getting in there, explaining how you model. A few things that I learned is that you apply things that you learn immediately. Immediately, you watch or
Yes,
listen to something, apply it immediately. You watch and listen as often as possible throughout the day. Um, you use triggers, physical triggers, words to trigger this modeling style, and that you did it so much in the beginning that now it's become pretty automatic. And that's where people want to get. But in order to get there, they have to do the things that you did, which is what I recommend in the program. But sometimes people don't do it, right? But you did it, and now you're seeing the benefits, both by loving yourself more, liking the way you speak, enjoying speaking, and other people now are listening to you acknowledging you, recognizing you, giving you greater responsibility.
I like to tell everyone that please journal your success, because when you will journal them, when you'll write them, and when you will every week when you will go and see them, that's where you are going to evaluate yourself. And one by one, those successes will make an imprint in your memory,
Yeah.
and that will be really nice.
Yeah. So any other last words that you would say to someone who's watching this video and they're considering the Pro 90 speech system and coaching? Any last comments to them?
It will be the best step you will take for enhancing your own speech and your life.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you so much, Ali. And
Thank you.
we'll be seeing you in another video when we analyze what you did to prepare for this high level presentation and then how you implemented it. There's some very specific lessons that we want to talk about there.
I will love to share them for
Yeah.
sure.